Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be guiding you on my journey into creating a recent charcoal drawing called The Depths. I'm going to be showcasing what I'm doing, my train of thought, and maybe you can learn something from it as well. I start with getting my charcoal sachet, dipping it into charcoal powder. The goal here is to kill the white of the paper and create an overall general tone of gray that I can use as a base layer. So now here I start applying masses of shapes to kind of suggest where the figure would go. So this step is done primarily with the charcoal sachet because the charcoal does not create any permanent damage. So anything here I do is erasable. Now I'm trying to be specific. I'm trying to get an idea of where things go. But as you can see, to create outlines and to create this specific points of placement, I use my eraser because that's another way of not damaging the paper and keeping edges soft rather than, using a pencil and creating outlines. So now that I have the general overview to get an idea of the placement of the figure, now I can get my blending stump and start using that to apply marks, to apply shapes, gradually adding detail to the figure but sneaking up on things. We don't want to get too detailed too fast. We want to have a general overview. When drawing or even when painting, I don't look at parts of the face as, oh, this is an eye, oh, this is an eyebrow. I look at it as shapes. It's not about drawing what you know or what you think should be there. It's about drawing what you see. And what I see is big shape, small shape, square, triangle, circle. When you simplify art like this, or portraits like this, it makes it a lot easier to be true to what you're drawing and what you're seeing. And I think that's a mistake a lot of artists make. They're not really focusing on what they're seeing, they're focusing on what they think should be there, and that's where you run into a lot of trouble. Here I'm just building up layers of the face. I took a break and now I'm back, and I want to be a bit more specific, so I brought the paper a bit closer to me. So this is the part where my camera recording dies without my knowledge. So I was already working on the drawing for a few hours before I realized that. So we skipped a few steps, but now we're just refining the hair with the pencil, which now I'm using a lot more. And I use the pencil to add marks of finer details. Now that I'm happy enough with the outcome of the face and how it's looking, now I'm gonna bounce back a bit. I'm gonna start focusing on the water. There's a woman in a pool of water, like in a seaside area, and there's a backdrop of the city behind her. So this is a very different kind of piece to what I would usually do, which kind of made it fun to create, because now we can actually create waves and create ripples of water and try and do that with charcoal and making it look organic and cool and realistic in a sense, but keeping it abstract and fresh as well. So now I'm using the blending stump to add skyscrapers and the shapes of the buildings in the background. And the beauty behind looking at the skyscrapers as shapes and using the blending stump to create that is that with one stroke of the blending stump you have one skyscraper already. And same with the waves. One stroke of the blending stump and you have a wave. So now I'm going back to the figure, going back to her shoulders, her upper body area to kind of nail the value. Make sure all that is looking complete. Just to give me a gauge of how to handle the waves and how much deeper to make the value of that. So when drawing everything's comparison, you need one part to help you with the other part. You need to finish one part of the drawing to help you have an idea of how to handle the other part of the drawing and the values. Basically going back into the sea, adding waves, focusing on trying not to get too detailed too fast, looking at it as layers, looking at it as shapes, rectangular shapes, elliptical shapes, slender shapes. It's all just shapes. So when you think about it that way, it saves you the brain power from trying to figure out, oh, how do I draw this wave? I'm also reminding myself while drawing this to always remember that when we're creating art, it's about creating an experience, creating an immersive world that the viewer can feel that they're a part of. Now, and it's also important, and as I said this in the last video as well, to keep in mind that we're not just creating artwork here, we're creating an experience that immerses the viewer and takes them to a different world. It's very important that with each mark you make and each decision you make in the drawing, there's life to it, there's movement to it, there's an energy to it. And that isn't something that you can really teach. That's more of an instinct thing that with time of doing drawings over and over and over again. So now I'm getting the pencil and I'm using it to get finer details in the eyes and in the lips. And here's where I get my acetone, which I use to create the acid effect on the charcoal drawing, to get that organic, textural, old photograph feeling, which also creates that energy and that feeling of life in the drawing. And as you can see, I put on gloves here because acetone is toxic, we don't want that on our skin. Using gloves, adding the charcoal powder on the surface of the paper and just spraying where I feel needs this texture. Since I'm inspired by photography, I like a vignette kind of feeling and look in my drawings. So upon doing the acid effect, I try to create an organic vignette texture effects around the drawing to bring your eye to the figure in the middle. But the thing is, when you use the acid effect, when you use the acetone, it kind of washes out the highlights and it washes out the darks. So you'll have to reinforce that by using your eraser to erase those bright areas, and using your pencil or compressed charcoal to go back into those darker areas that are washed out. So what you're seeing here is like an 8-hour process that I've condensed into like 10 minutes. I say this so you understand that, this takes time and it's nothing to feel like, oh, he's putting this stuff together very fast. It takes time, and the more you do it, the more quicker you get at it. But I'm just saying this so you don't get discouraged by how fast I'm working. And you keep that in mind as well. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or any suggestions of what you want to see next, or questions about my materials, I've attached an Amazon affiliate link to what I'm using, the materials I'm using down below, as well as a link to my socials, my Instagram, my website, all that kind of stuff. Thanks for watching. It's been Victor, and until next time, see you soon.